Hey fellas, alright, I know this is going up really late, but tempted to say it's not my fault. I suppose it is. Can I say my sleep cycle's been shot to all the hell. After I get this uploaded and posted on the Wizards boards, I'm gonna down a couple shots of NyQuil and hit the hay, because I need to be up earlier than I have been lately for stuff tomorrow, and poo happens, what can I say? Not doing my draft stuff tonight because that's still in my bag in the car. However, what I do have, Scars of Mirrodin. Lead off with the green and Scars of Mirrodin. Put aside a few cards I wanted to talk about. Something we didn't see in white yesterday, the Infect mechanic. Now, a lot of people likes to talk about how, oh, Infect's overpowered, blah, 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 especially amongst the casual crowd. And it's not so much that Infect is overpowered, it's just that it's really easy to put together a really, really efficient and aggressive deck using the Infect mechanic. And I think that's one of the problems with casual players, why they think Infect is, especially like the really casual players, the new players, why they think Infect is so redonkulously strong. Because they don't, a lot of them, number one, don't understand how to deal with an aggressive deck. They just don't. The fact that Infect has a few interesting quirks that other mechanics don't is really something that's going to throw people for a loop as well. Some people who don't like Infect sit there and like want to complain about Mark Rosewater, one of the big-time creative guys in Magic. He's been behind a lot of stuff for a lot of years in Magic, and poison counters were one of his babies for a long time, and well, here they are. So, what do we got here? Well, just to lead us off, let's take a look. And we've got a couple of green cards with Infect here. The lion's share of them in Scars of Mirrodin are in black, and to a lesser extent Artifact, but mostly in black. We've got the lovely watermarks on our cards here. There's the Phyrexian watermark, and there's the Mirren watermark. You can barely make it out there, but yeah, we've got these nice marks on the cards that they don't serve any mechanical purpose, but they're more for flavor, you know? Should I say, yes, this is a card that's related to the Phyrexians. This is a card that's related to the Mirrens. And in Scars of Mirrodin, they wanted, I believe it was a 70%, 30% split in favor of the Mirrens. Cistberry is a 2/3 Infect. Now, what's fun about Infect, of course, is since you're putting neg1 counters on creatures instead of dealing damage to them, it means, and if you have to jump block an enemy, you're taking that enemy down a notch or two. It's good stuff. It's not bad at all. The only problem with Infect is that, in general, it's not quite as mana efficient as a lot of other things would be. For instance, Blight Mamba, who, in my opinion, is a really good card, really. It'd be better if he wasn't in a set that's where Infect is running rampant, but he's still a good card. He's a 1/1 with Infect that regenerates for a colorless and a green. Colorless and a green to play. Now, normally for a colorless and a green on a snake, you'd expect something along the lines of like maybe a power of 2 and Island Walk or Swamp Walk. And well, but Infect and Regeneration is a wonderful combination. Does all sorts of evil stuff. Hard to go wrong with it. Untamed Might, despite being a Mirren faction card, this goes incredibly well with the Infect mechanic, which is coincidentally a very Phyrexian mechanic. Or at least very heavily associated with Phyrexian here. X, green, instant, target creature gets +X/+X till end of turn. It's basically, it's very derivative of Hell from Beyond, which is X black instant, target creature gets +X/+0. Like I said, there's also, if I recall correctly, there's a red version of it called Anger. If I recall correctly, I'm not 100% certain. But yeah, it's very derivative of those cards, although different because it also adds to toughness. It's really, really a good card. That is, and heavens forbid, that is a card that can and will win games. Slice and Twain. In an artifact-heavy environment, which is what Scars Draft is, any Scars Limited, whether it be draft or sealed deck, it's artifact-heavy. And I'm pretty sure right now we're still looking at a relatively artifact-heavy standard, especially, of course, people running Sword of this and that. Whether it be Sword of Body and Mind, Sword of Feast and Famine, or Sword of War and Peace, yeah, you're seeing a lot of people running Sword of this and that. And Slice and Twain, 2 double green, destroy artifact or enchantment, draw a card. That's huge. It removes something that's a huge threat to you, and replaces itself in your hand. That you don't go wrong with that. You really don't. Let's talk about Copperhorn Scout for a second. It's a 1/1 for a single green. When it attacks you, untap each creature other than itself that you control. Now, I remember back in draft, people sitting there going, why would you play that? That thing sucks, blah, blah, blah. And they're right. It's not a great card. They're, however, overlooking the fact that it can do silly, silly stuff. And it's still an elf. There were a handful, not as many elves printed in this set as probably we would have liked. And we've got the Copperhorn Scout, we've got Azuri's Archers, which is like a 1/1 or a 1/2 with reach. And if it blocks a flying creature, it gets a power boost until end of turn. And we've got the Carapace Forager, which is a 2/2 elf for a colorless and a green that gets +2/+2 on Metalcraft. So yeah, I mean there's 3 relatively minor elves in there. It's not bad. But the big thing on that is Azuri Renegade Leader. He's a colorless and double green for a 2/2. Pump green to regenerate target elf other than himself. Oh, and 2 colorless and double green, and you've got an elf exclusive overrun. It's not bad at all, by a long shot. Oh, and here's another elf in the set that I forgot about momentarily. Glad I put Tilted One off to the side so I could remember to speak of him. Tel'Gelad Fallen, he's a 3/1 protection from artifacts and infect. He's an infect creature who's really big on the front. That makes him dangerous. The fact that he's protection from artifacts is a two-edged sword. Your opponent can't chump block him with artifacts. He can chump block artifacts all damn day. Well, artifact creature. He's resistant to a lot of artifact-based tricks. For example, the Tumble Magnet, which we'll get to in a few days, has no effect on him whatsoever. Tumble Magnet sits there and says, I don't see that elf over there. I don't know where he is. You want me to see him, I don't see him. Like all infect creatures, well, most infect creatures, he's got a almost criminally low toughness. And that's a mark against him, because if you've got a non-artifact source that can deal damage to him, it takes him out real fast. Asceticism. This is a pretty boss enchantment. It's 3 colorless, double green. You can pump a colorless and a green to regenerate target creature, and oh yeah, all creatures you control have X proof. That's awesome sauce. It really is. We've also got the Bellowing Tangleworm. He's a 4/4 with Intimidate. This is the first time we saw Intimidate. It's basically fear, but instead of being against black and saying you can only be blocked by black and artifact, it can only be blocked by your own color and artifact. Intimidate's kind of interesting because it's actually less powerful on multicolored creatures, which is kind of funky. But well. And he gives other green creatures you control Intimidate. That's where he gets nasty, because it's just like, him just having Intimidate by himself, pain in the butt, frequently you'll be able to work around it. All of your green creatures having Intimidate, that's where stuff gets silly. Putrefax. He's a 3 and double green For a 5/3 trample, haste, infect, at the beginning of the end step, sacrifice him. Now, what's funny about Putrefax, I don't know if funny is the right word, but Putrefax is basically, an infect version of Ball Lightning. The big problem with him, of course, by the time you hit 5 mana with an infect-based deck, you probably should have won already. Probably. I mean, stuff happens, don't get me wrong. And heavens forbid it, back when all we had, back in just Scar is, before New Phyrexia came out, there were standard, legal, all-common decks that could theoretically kill on turn 3. Using nothing but commons. Yeah! Oh, jeez. Engulfing Slagworm. This guy's high on the mana curve. He's a 7/7. Normally, I'd shy away from something like this guy. However, he's got a fun, happy ability. Whenever he blocks or becomes blocked by a creature, destroy that creature and gain life equal to its toughness. Now, the gain life is just gravy. And to be perfectly honest, in a set where you're going to be in a block where you're going to be picking up poison counters, life gain is of questionable usefulness. Even more so than it already is, you know? But, yeah. Destroying creatures? Yeah, sign me up. Let's go for it. Destroying a creature in green is not exactly a common effect. Just outright destroying a creature in green is not a common effect. So, red. Assault Strobe. Target creature gains double strike till end of turn for a single red. It's acceptable. It's not bad. Well, it's acceptable. Saying it's not bad almost implies that it's a good card. If it were an instant, it would be an insane card. Or heavens forbid, I'd love to see something along the lines of, like, you know, a red instant that gave target blocked creature double strike. That'd be awesome. That'd be redonkulous. Still redonkulous. But as it is, as a sorcery, meaning you have to play it during one of your first main phase for it to really be worth any consideration, yeah, I'm not in love with the card, to say the least. Galvanic Blast. It's a shock. That on Metalcraft does double damage. You can't go wrong with that. Not in this block. You seriously can't go wrong with it. Turn to Slag. 5 damage to a creature for 3 colors double red, sorcery. I don't think I'd play it in Constructed. I don't really think it's a Constructed-worthy card. In Draft, it's a great removal option, though. It's like, yeah, I do 5 damage to your creature and nuke all the equipment attached to it. That's huge. That's incredible. Especially seeing how 5 damage will outright kill most of the creatures in the set, you know? And if it doesn't, hey, guess what? You just removed all its equipment. That's probably what makes it able to withstand it. Yeehaw. Shatter. Just like the original Mirrodin, Shatter being reprinted in an artifact-heavy set makes it a high-value draft card, despite being a common. You could easily pass up good uncommons for a Shatter. Or heaven's forbid, pass up bad rares for a Shatter. Unlike any set, of course, there are bad rares. Oh well. Arc Trail, nice card, colorless red, 2 damage, target creature or player, and 1 damage to another target creature or player. It's nice. Worst case scenario, you're probably removing a creature and pinging a player. Best case scenario, getting rid of 2 creatures. Usually one of them is an annoying utility guy. As we all know, low toughness utility creatures are frequently the most dangerous SOBs on the block. What else here? Oxidus Scrap Melter. 3 colors and a red for a 3/3 that when he hits the board, he nukes an artifact. That's not bad. I mean, for the same casting cost as the classic Hill Giant, you get a Hill Giant and a Shatter all in one. Can't complain. Cannot complain. Or heavens forbid it. Compare him to the old I'm trying to remember what was the name of the card was. The Bum Monkeys. Uktabi Orangutan. Compared to Uktabi Orangutan. Uktabi Orangutan was, if I recall correctly, 2 colors and a green for a 2/2 with the same comes into play ability. The reason why it's called Bum Monkeys is because in the background there's a picture of 2 monkeys that are in a rather suggestive pose. I don't know if it was on purpose, but it was. Bloodshot Trainee is a reprint! He's a 2/3, tap to deal 4 damage to target creature, but you can only use his ability if his power is 4 or greater. Yes, folks, he's a reprint. He was originally a future-shifted card in Future Sight. That's right, guys. I wonder how many future-shifted cards are left that they haven't reprinted yet. I don't know. Well, I know Steam Flogger Boss is one of them. I want to say, I can't remember what it was, the 3/3 flying creature that's also an enchantment. That's probably on the list somewhere. Oh well. Goblin Cavalier. He's a 1/1 trample for red. Some people will look at that and say, dude, he sucks, he's horrible, blah, 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 blah. He gets +2/+0 for each equipment attached to him. He can get big. He can get big with frightening ease. Heavens forbid it, if you, first turn, Mountain, Cavalier, and the shield equipment gives you equipped creature +0/+3 and vigilance. Next turn, suit him up. Or is it 3 mana to suit him up? I can't remember. I want to say it's 2. Maybe 1. I don't recall. But yeah, turning him into effectively a 3/4 vigilance trample? Yeah! That's pretty awesome. And of course, there's also the draft game where I was able to use the Brass Squire. His tap ability, I dropped the Argentum armor on the board, tapped the Squire, suited up the Cavalier, and then I swung with a, what do we think? A 9/7 trample out of the blue? Yeah, combat tricks are awesome. Koldatha Phoenix, 4/4 flying haste. It's not bad at all. On if you have Metalcraft, you can pay 4 colorless and return him from your graveyard to the battlefield, but activate this only during your upkeep. That's still pretty boss. That is really, really boss. Can't go wrong with that. Unless, of course, you're not playing a lot of Artifact, in which case you can still go wrong, but if you're playing in a limited environment, a 4/4 flyer for 5 is still really good. Especially even if it has 4/4 flyer with haste. For 5, for the same casting, a comparable casting cost to like a Serra Angel or Sangre Vampire. Yeah, it's in red of all things, Anyways, a couple other cards I wanted to mention. Koldatha Rebirth. Know it, love it, hate it, all sorts of crazy things. It's a red, it's a sorcery. In addition to its casting cost, as part of the casting cost, you must also sacrifice an artifact. 3/1/1 red goblin creatures. Tokens. On the battlefield. You can do all sorts of crazy things with this. I've actually thought about trying what would happen if you put together, say, like, a white-red aggro deck. Maybe as a variant of Red Deck Wins, I don't know. Budget variant, dare I say it, because, first turn you drop the 2/2 flyer that you bounce an artifact. Yeah, first turn, Plains, Memnite, Bird, bounce Memnite, play Memnite, say go, next turn, swing for 3, play a mountain, tap the Plains, play a second bird, bounce Memnite, replay Memnite, tap mountain, Koldatha Rebirth, sacrifice Memnite, 3/1/1s. I mean, it requires one hell of a boss opening hand too, but it's not outside of the realm of possibility. It's relatively budget. To be perfectly blunt, though, you'd probably be better off, instead of using the Memnite, using one of the 2-power goblins. I want to say it was the the goblin whose name escapes me, who's like 2 power for 1, he has haste, and when he attacks, your opponent reveals top card of their deck. If it's a land, goes to hand. Blah blah blah. Spike Shot Elder. He's really nice. He's a single red for a 1/1. Pump colors double red. Deals damage equal to his power to target creature or player. That's just incredible. That's really awesome. Similar to the Spike Shot Shaman from the original Mirrodin, who was, if I recall correctly, was a 1/3 or a 1/2 for 2 colors and a red, and his special ability was red tap. Deal damage equal to his power to target creature. Might have been player as well, I can't recall off the top of my head. But yeah, in the original Mirrodin block, that guy, and locks it on Warhammer. A quick creature gets +3/+0 trample lifelink. That was a deadly combination back in the day. Made even worse, of course, by the fact that during its first printing in the original Mirrodin block, locks it on Warhammer was an uncommon. Seriously, Wizards, what are you thinking? Yeah, they made a lot of mistakes with the original Mirrodin block. A lot. Metal Affinity was overpowered. Blocks on Warhammer had no business being uncommon. Skull Clamp had no business being printed. Yeah. What else do I want to talk about here? Put that aside for a second. Oops. We got the Barrage Ogre. He's a 3/3. You tap him and sacrifice an artifact for 2 damage target creature or player. He goes really well with his the Ogre Gear Grabber, who's a 6-drop. That when he attacks, you take control of a equipment defending player controls and attach it to him. And then at the end of the turn, you unattach that equipment and return control of it to your opponent. It's a 2-card combo that just like rips your opponent's equipment away from him. It's not a great combo, but it's there. It's a 2-card combo. Horde Smelter Dragon. Only got a couple of these guys. He's a 5/5 flyer and 3 colors red. Destroy target artifact. Dragon gets +X/+O till end of turn, where X is that artifact's converted mana cost. If you avoid generate a lot of mana, that's pretty boss. It really is. It's hard to go wrong with that. Now this fellow, Koth of the Hammer. Let's talk about this guy for a second. Let me tell you something about Koth of the Hammer, guys. If you find yourself in possession of Koth of the Hammer, what you need to do is take all of your copies of Koth of the Hammer, put them in sleeves, cut a couple of pieces of cardboard to fit around them, put the sleeves between 2 pieces of cardboard, tape the 2 pieces together, wrap it up, go down to your local post office. You want to send this, and just mail me your Koth of the Hammer. I will take him off of your hands for free. No charge at all. I will gladly take care of your Koth of the Hammer for you. Okay? Just mail that to Jeffrey Deruta, and yeah, seriously, come on, Koth of the Hammer? Please, people, he's insane! Alright, maybe not that good, but he's still incredibly good. 2 colors, double red, for a Planeswalker. Comes in with 3 loyalty counters. Yay, number 3! Which you can't really make out. Add a loyalty counter to untap target mountain. It becomes a 4/4 red elemental till end of turn and is still a land. Okay. Turn 4, Koth of the Hammer. I add a loyalty counter to him. I untap one of my mountains. It's currently a 4/4 creature, land, elemental mountain. At this point, you can tap it for red mana, if you want to play a 1-drop or something at this point. Or you could save that red mana for later, say during your opponent's turn, it's still an untapped mountain. Or you could just swing with a 4/4. Hey, look at that. Remove 2 counters from him. Add red to your mana pool for each mountain you control. That's not bad at all. And his neg-5 ability, you receive an emblem with mountains you control, tap for 1 damage target creature or player. Yeah, look, you until the end of the game, your mountains might as well are basically like prodigal pyromancers. Yeah! In addition to being mountains. Except they don't have a toughness. Because they're only lands with that funky ability. You don't go wrong with Koth. You really don't. And if you're drafting, you don't pass a Koth. And if you did pass a Koth in a draft, and it wasn't like your first draft, or you weren't like really new at the game, you need to walk up to somebody somewhere and just, give them $5 and have them kick your butt for you. Seriously, guys. Seriously. Koth is incredible. Wow. He's Koth. That's all you can say. Alrighty. Call this video wrapped up. Get it uploaded. Hopefully it won't take all darn night, but these things happen. I'm hoping tomorrow I can cover my draft acquisitions from Friday night. Did okay in one draft, did not really okay in the other. It wasn't a good night for me, I guess. But I did pick up a Chandra's Phoenix, so hey, there's that. Alright, be good, fellas. Stay safe.